What?
You're supposed to stand up, right?
I can't stand. To Connie Warren, a resident of the town of Baldwin in the county of Cumberland and in the state of Maine, I, Deborah Wakefield, town clerk, consistent with the method of notification adopted by the town of Baldwin, certify that at the direction of Constance Warren, I notified the voters of Baldwin of the time and place of the special town meeting by posted a true copy of the within warrant at the town clerk's office, the East Baldwin Post Office, the West Baldwin Post Office, and the Baldwin Community Center, a conspicuous public place within Baldwin on April 24th, 2023, which is at least 7 days next prior to Election Day. You are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Baldwin in said county, qualified by law, to vote in town affairs, to meet at the Baldwin Town Office on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, at 6 o'clock in the evening, then and there, to act on the following articles to wit. Article 1, to choose a moderator for said meeting. On the nominations?
I nominate Norm Blake.
Haven't lost an election yet.
Norman, do you swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state so long as you shall continue a citizen thereof, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Do you swear that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent upon you as a moderator according to the Constitution and laws of the state, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I get my shillelagh?
You did.
All right. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to allocate $1,081.59 of the town's ARPA funding to reimburse the contingency reserve account for funds spent on repair of the community center water system. This is to supplement the $30,000 already approved. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments, discussion?
Are we, just about to do some more I'm just doing this so we won't just.
I appreciate it,
in
Josiah.
30 seconds, okay?
Yeah, you know, we gotta have some semblance of a meeting.
Why can't we, include, I understand there's gonna be some more water work done, with the well, there was a sign on the door and everything.
Yeah.
Why aren't we including everything in the
Selectman,
package?
please clue us in on that.
The well pump has already been replaced, and we spent a portion of what was previously approved to get that done. This will finish up the repair of the system.
You're closing down, what day is it, does it sign?
Tomorrow, they're closing down.
And there's a bill coming for that work?
Yep. So if you read this closely, we're already using contingency funds toward the contract, so we can get it going right away. What this will do is it will reimburse the contingency fund to bring it back,
Okay.
so we don't leave it over time. Yep, it's ongoing, it'll happen, and it should be finished Thursday.
Great.
Yep. Hopefully everything will be back up and running. Quick set,
And all paid off?
pay off, right?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Further questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 2 as read, please raise your hand. Them opposed? The article passes unanimously. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to revise the River Road Reserve account rules to read, and I quote, for upgrading the gravel portion of the River Road to pavement and associated preparatory work or other river road maintenance or repair. Expenditures from the fund shall be requested in writing by the road commissioner and approved by a vote of the select board. The target level will be set when identified in a town road maintenance and repair plan. We need a motion.
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
Moved and seconded, questions, comments?
When do we
You-
project that we will actually do some work on River Road?
Well,
We're in it as we talk,
Well.
ask Chris, you haven't got there yet, have you?
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
This is instigated because, Storm Elliott, which was just before Christmas, got underneath the pavement of the bridge there with the two culverts and started to erode it. We then hired an engineer to come over and take a look at it and tell us what they thought. They said, it will probably last maybe another year or two, but you ought to replace it as soon as you can. And the dollar number that he said will be probably $200,000 or more with the economic repair, which was, what did he call that, a Derigo?
It's a block system.
The block system. It's like a box culvert, but it's not all cast as one. It's all using like.
Lego blocks.
Lego blocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen them.
The account right now, the River Road account, I think has maybe $50,000 or $60,000 in it. It's not enough to do any paving. It's enough to get our design of the culvert replacement done. And it's going to be a while before we can do any paving, quite honestly. Yes.
Question. When they put the solar farm in, they said they would repair the road wherever needed. Now, I've been down that road when they were in there working and coming out. They were going over that bridge, even though they weren't supposed to be with those big rigs. Now, have they put any money forward?
That's not what was agreed. It was agreed that they would repair that part where they were entering and going into Joe Pierce's property. There was a place where they were turning and breaking up the pavement. And we sent them a letter, and Chris just got a return on it, a week or so ago. They said it dropped into a mailbox somewhere, and they just found it. But they're gonna come out and do that. But it's not a lot of pavement. It's, just a piece in front of where they were turning there and unloading vehicles and stuff. It's not the whole paved portion that they drove on. In fact, it wasn't even them.
I thought it was the river road. They didn't say pavement. I don't remember it saying
It was
pavement.
the paved portion of it, yeah. That's the agreement, and, but they were going to do that, so. It took a while for us to communicate with them, but they've agreed.
Okay. What about the logging that went on the river road, and those trucks coming out of there with the tree length logs?
That's normal life here in Baldwin.
So they didn't have to put any money towards the road either?
No. No, and you'll see in the town report,
You're talking about the upcoming town report?
yeah, you'll see
Okay.
in the upcoming town report, we looked hard at this, and, we wanted to put a lot of money toward River Road upgrade, but it's just not in the budget this year. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes, in
You
the back.
mentioned there'd be time between getting the monies appropriated to doing the paving and whatnot. What is the plan and the timeline in the meantime, such as like ditching that road, giving that water a place to go? That will buy you
So the next.
certainly a little bit of time.
Yeah, the next step is, the immediate thing is to get the bridge replaced, the culvert or bridge, we'll call it, replaced. I suspect it's gonna be a couple of years at best to get that. We want to accumulate enough money to be able to pay for half of it. And then you can apply for grant money from the state. It's not always available, but on occasion it's available. Our experience here has been not very good in getting grant money, but we try to apply for it anyway. Once we've got that paid for, the next thing is to design the upgrade to the road. And you need that before you actually pave it, because we've got the corner down there where they cleaned it all off, that's now town property. That'll straighten out the road and make it better. But there needs to be a lot of design of upgrading the road bed, as you say, ditching, culverts, whatnot, the whole length of the road. I don't know if you've been down there today, but it's cut, what, 2 places, 3?
That what?
The river road.
It's, the one place is closed.
It's closed. You
They
can't
still
transfer
driving
people.
around it too.
Hmm? That's their own choice.
Yeah. Taking your chances with it, but the, down on the, or on the north end, there's a huge bunch of, pavement that got washed out. Up by the bridge there's a huge chunk of pavement that got washed out this time. And then, when I went through this morning, there was still a lot of standing water in the place up there, so it's not good.
When do you expect to start repairing that road?
You know, I don't see it in the next 4 or 5 years that you need.
No, I mean repairing the damage
So
done
you
now.
can travel the road now, if you get a fire truck down there, for example.
Well, Chris, you'll talk to him.
We're in the middle of trying to get the roads that people have one-way access fixed first. And then we're gonna start working on that road and some of the other roads that, you know, there is an alternative route on. I would like to say we'll get to it this week. I have high hopes that we'll be able to get to it this week. But
We
we've
know
also-
a fire truck could fit either way, or a rescue.
what do you mean by either way?
Well, heavy sort SUs on the river road,
Yeah,
see, that
They-
will not
they-
take the weight of a fire truck down that way with a pavement that's been caved in.
I think it would, as long as you're not on the edge of the road.
Are you looking at having anyone evaluate the safety of traveling on that road? I know you've got barricades up, because those people are turning around in my driveway
Yep.
that are choosing not to go down the road, but there are people who are choosing. And I kinda like the Darwinian theory myself, but thinking of EMS vehicles, I mean, Cumberland County isn't even gonna patrol that road with it in that condition.
As far as when it's closed? like it
In
is
the
right now?
condition that it's in now with the washed out areas.
Yeah, well, that's why we're gonna try to get to it this week and get it fixed. Like I said, we've been dealing with a ton of washouts. I've had 4 trucks on the road all week, for the last 2 days, I guess, only on Tuesday. And 2 pieces of equipment running all the time. And we've been trying to get to all of them and as quick as we can. Like I said, that's gonna be one of the next ones we get to, because I'm working my way right this way.
What's the proposed plan for the repair? Are we just dumping a dump load of sand into the hole and calling it?
As far as the culvert that's washed out,
The 2 sections that are washed out, the paved section and the dirt section.
so the one that's in the dirt, that the culvert's there, our plan is to rip out the culvert and replace it. One, it's a steel culvert, it's undersized, it's all of the above. That was my plan, was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, when it started to wash out once before? And we patched it, and we were just trying to buy it some time so we could get back out there. So that's gonna be that, and then the paved section, we'll have to evaluate when we get there to see exactly what we can do and can't do to get it fixed.
If I could interject, do you have a replacement culvert for the one you're gonna yank?
We're waiting for it.
And what's the ETA for that from your supplier? I'm sure everybody else is.
Everyone's trying to get the same culvert.
Betcha.
I've got phone calls into 2 different places, trying to see which one can get it for me first. So, they haven't gotten back to me yet, per se.
Well, keep after them.
Oh, I called them yesterday and called them today. So,
I think where I'm going with asking the questions on what the plan was, is there any way to combine some improvements at the same time that you're digging up and making some replacements, such as the ditching, leading up to those washed out areas and after it, while you're already in there?
we'll be doing some of it when we're there. It just won't be real extensive, you know, when we're in that direct area, we'll be doing some of that and getting it cleaned up and getting it dressed back in and whatnot. But we'll have to, because of the severe washouts everywhere, I can't just spend a whole bunch of time on one spot.
No, I
So when I'm there, we're gonna do what we can immediately, and then move on to the next section, and then move on to the next road, and the next road, and the next road after that. Trying
Bob,
to get
did you
everyone.
start to say something?
I'm gonna ask Chris, could you get the road, the fire chief to evaluate the passability of both open ends?
I absolutely will.
Okay, that would be good.
Now, the part that's down by our house, where you got the two barricades with helmet let go.
Yep.
Is that not the same one that let go?
It is, a couple weeks ago, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
one-
and then, like I said, that's when we put the gravel in, we packed it in, and we were gonna replace the culvert anyways,
Okay.
so.
Was the culvert undersized with a hole in it, or what?
I don't think it necessarily was undersized for what it normally takes, but now that we've had two ginormous rainstorms in a very short amount of time, we're gonna increase the size just to be safe. Because I hate to think that this is gonna be the new normal of 5-inch rainstorms overnight, but.
I know, we did that.
You know, we had the Patriots Day storm, and that, we were all in the clear until December, and now we've had two of them.
Imagine if it rained for a month like in California. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any roads.
That's what I was thinking, wow.
I got a question for Jim. Jim, when a road that you can choose this end or that end is blocked for whatever reason, does anybody notify dispatch or Standish Rescue to go this way, not that way?
Yes.
Yeah, they did up the Brown Road one time.
Yeah, we have, and they're well aware of Saddleback,
River.
Saddleback was, but,
Yeah.
River Road now.
So they've been
Dispatch
switching the
knows
last
exactly
day.
what time, what house number you have to access from each side.
Okay, good.
What happens if they can't get down through,
What do you mean by can't get down through?
on either side, if it's bad enough where they cannot get their vehicle?
If it was bad enough, it would be a priority and we'd be there fixing it. As far as, you know, if it was completely washed out at the end or the other end or whatever, we would have gone up and gotten it, and I usually get phone calls. I've gotten about 5 phone calls from Cumberland County in the last 2 days,
Yeah.
or 7, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, their vehicle's a lot wider than
They are.
normal vehicles, so.
And they're all, the ambulance that Standish has is 4-wheel drive, and they've made it in places that I didn't think they would, and they've still made it up, and I was like, oh, okay.
Further questions, comments?
Has there been any new construction or, culverts or pipes put in on Senator Black Road on the East Baldwin side?
Senator Black Road down towards Henry Center, right?
Senator Black Road, it would be down towards Metcalf, in the fire station?
Oh, in the West Baldwin end, the village end.
Yes, West Baldwin, yes.
It's all West Baldwin Hill, but have there been any new culverts put in on Senator Black Road?
As far as when?
As far as like the last few years, because I've lived there for 18 years, and I've only had flooding once. And both these storms, I had like 14 inches of running water through my yard.
We haven't done any culvert replacing on the
I
road.
think I know what she's talking about, though.
That,
It's all washed out with, big gravel left there.
Is that down in the dip?
The big rocks and stuff left.
Do you know where the fire station is?
Yeah,
Oh, you know where the old Grange Hall is?
yeah,
The old early place?
yeah.
That's my house.
Oh, okay.
And it was crazy. If my pool had been anywhere else, it would have been washed away.
Wow.
And my furnace, I was like this far from my furnace, and that's up on the slab.
Yeah. Well, it was exciting.
So that is something that's, happening, to make you aware of that. I know my neighbor had like a big pond, it was literally 14 inches of running water. Running water.
yep, Mother Nature's not our friend.
I just didn't know if anything had changed.
Nothing has changed since they paved it.
It got rebuilt, what, 3, 4
2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
I think it was
Culvert,
three
like,
or four.
was replaced then.
Yeah,
Where was
a lot of culverts were
Yeah.
replaced.
I think Brian did almost every one of them.
Yeah, I think so.
That was before my time.
Was that off Senator Black Road?
That was when they rebuilt Senator Black. That was a couple of years ago.
Right, and we haven't had rain like that since.
December.
Yeah, it's December.
Yeah, December was even worse.
Yeah. So, but we don't typically get the 5 inches of rain in the course of 12 hours either, so.
Right, but the thing that bothers me is that we didn't have the snow this year. And the only time that it ever did it before was when we had piles and piles and piles of snow. So I'm just wondering if the flow changed anything, if there's any way that you guys can go up and look at that.
I can take a look at
It
it.
brought all kinds of debris down into my yard.
Yeah. I can go up and take a look at it. I don't know if there's anything we can do without looking
Right.
at it, but I can go up and look.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions, comments? Yes.
I think one of the other questions that comes to mind is this job, obviously handling River Road has been a burden for you. It's more than one person can handle, and I think our concern, as taxpayers is we keep throwing money at it, just fixing and, kind of responding to these issues. Would we be better served if we could move this along at a faster pace than 4 to 5 years out and raising the funds or appropriating funds towards resolving it? I mean, ultimately, paving and ditching would free up a lot of this maintenance that's going on. I know that isn't free. We can't grow the money on a tree. So I think, do we have a running tally of what it's been costing over the last few years?
No, but we could get it, but I'll give you and Chris can answer as well, is that we had a who is a state bridge guy, Paul, come down and look at the culvert, and we talked about money for paving the road versus repairing the bridge and whatnot, and then you talk to other people and they will say it's actually cheaper to maintain a gravel road in spite of all their problems. When you start paving, you're talking big money. I don't know what the Hiram say for,
It's $180,000 a month for just the pavement. That don't include building up your road bed, which you gotta have first. Like, there's places on the river road where the road bed is lower than the sides of the road.
Right.
You know, so that's gonna have to be all built up, probably a foot or so at least. And then it's gonna have to be, graded, so to get a curvature to the top, so the rain runs down to the sides of it. But what we used to do for $80,000 a mile, now it's $180,000.
No, I understand that, and we see, I've lived there now for 15 years, a load of gravel here and there is brought in, and over time, we could have been building that up, we could have been ditching it, so now that we would just be looking at the cost of finishing the top and then putting pavement down. We're just throwing little bits here and there at just fixing problems where maybe we could prevent something major.
What did we have for a number? Seems so, it was like $370,000 to re-gravel it. If I remember right, was that before your time and all?
Yes, it was before him. It was 400,000.
Yeah.
That's right, but it wasn't it was re-graveling it, bringing it up to grade and paving it too.
But now pavement is going,
Oh, I know.
Out of sight.
What isn't?
really.
I mean, we know there's a desire there for that road, there's a desire for Saddleback Road, people screaming on that much longer and harder. The truth of the matter is, there is not enough money in any town's budget to pave all roads, but we are putting attention to it. I think, like I said, the next step in the process would be to get a design done. Get an engineering firm in there to tell, like Doug said, where to build up, where to put culverts, where to put the water and whatnot. And from there, either all at once or in steps, pave it.
Well, we had already also talked about getting grants, hiring a company to go in and find some grants. Because there's money up there that is set aside for roads. You just have to have the right person to be able to set it up, get a grant going, and get the money for you.
I'm not aware of it, I'm sorry.
Yes. And hiring somebody that does it professionally, let them go in and do all the work and get that money going.
The engineer that we just hired to do the bridge, to look at stuff, that's the first thing we got, was a letter from him from the state saying there's no money available for any projects like that, grants this year.
Now, there's supposed to be money set aside for all the roads and bridges. What happened to all that money?
Well, I tell you where probably 80 million's going on the Brunswick Thompson Bridge. That's priority right now.
But there was more money than that,
There
because there was a lot of roads that had to be.
Yeah, I've looked into the grant programs myself from the state, so there's, DEP does one for, stream crossings, and that's our most likely place to get some for the culvert. Supposed to help the fish come through and whatnot. It's not our biggest concern, but, we can take the money if we can. Then there is also, the state has money if it is a road that's considered a critical link. And, we spoke with the engineer that was looking at the culverts, and he said it would not apply to this one. It's a road, I think, with only one access. So if you were trying to do some kind of repair or upgrade, or put a culvert in those type of roads, then the state might give you some help on it, but, it used to be, I don't know, a few years ago, anyway, that fork was, congressional fork was the way you got a lot of these things. The bridge to nowhere in Alaska and stuff, and they reinstated it, I think, a few years ago, and we've seen that there's fire stations in Limerick and other places, Leamington, getting money from earmarks.
Yeah, earmarks.
And if it survives, we can try to get earmarks, for things. Don't hold your hand up, you won't get it.
Right.
Josiah's got his hand up.
I'd just like to say a word about Bob. He is really working hard on this stuff. We are very lucky to have him. He understands computers, and he will wake up in the middle of the night and go and get on his computer.
You know that how?
I'm right there in his closet, so I but I really have to say, Bob is a real asset to the town.
Well,
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, that's where you get your best decisions from, is when you try to sleep at night.
Yes.
And you come up with a.
Then you go right, I'd go right to sleep. Bob is actually interested in this stuff, and I can't say enough about that.
No, I wish there was an easy answer, but I don't see one. And what we're trying to do with this article is, there's some money there. Now, we need to get the bridge for the culvert replacement design, and maybe do a little bit of work there. But really, we need to, year after year, start socking some money away into that reserve account. And it's gonna be tough.
I know an easy way, Bob.
I mean, you can do it, but it's gonna come out of the taxpayer's pocket.
It's easier than that. Every week, we get Debbie to go uptown, buy $100 worth of Powerball tickets. Sooner or later, she's gonna hit it.
She won't come back if she's got.
She will. She's very good that way. Further questions, comment? Yes.
You've done a great job on the road. That River Road sucks, we all know that. But the River Road, what I think, is sort of like Teflon. They have these holes. He comes in, he fills the holes, we drive, the holes are back. He comes in, he fills the holes, we drive, the holes come back. Do you find that to be the same spot all the time? So I look at, it's Teflon. If we could just maybe chew it up and then add more dirt to it, maybe it wouldn't disappear so quickly, because it really is a waste of money, because it doesn't last long enough to appreciate it. It's done. Oh, now it's gone. I'm talking out of my butt here. I know nothing about roads. I'm just saying it's very hard packed. and I could almost name the potholes. So, I just thought that might be a cheaper way to fix the road and let it last longer than it does. At least when he does it, it's little rocks. Before there are boulders. That didn't help the road at all, although I have a big stash of big rocks, but it's just...
I'll tell you a story. Monday morning, I sleep pretty well, so I woke up, I don't know, 6:30, something like that. It was still raining pretty hard, and I'm thinking, oh, God. Turn on the TV, it's been going all night, so I jump in the car, head down to River Road, first thing, and I see the first washout in the pavement. Then I get up the road a ways, and there's this guy that's put a teepee of branches over the road. The old things he went up in the woods, picked up. And somebody in an old pickup truck, so I stopped, I said, well, thank you for doing that. And he goes, yeah, it's terrible, you know. I said, well, are you from town? He goes, no. I live in Farmington, and I come through here every morning on my way to work to Cornish. I said, would you please go around?
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a lot of people use that road, and it's not just the local people chewing up. There's a lot of traffic that goes through on there, and so it might be lasting longer than you think. You know, it's not just you driving on it.
Well, I just thought that maybe if it wasn't so tightly packed, that the dirt and the small rocks you put on there might sort of be able to mingle in
No.
and become part of. But I don't think you could use the rototiller, so
I'm not a road expert, but.
no, neither am I. But I know that road sucks, and it's not gonna get any better throwing dirt on it for a day or two, but it's funds that are not being extended in the amount of time you'd think they'd be there. Well, how long do you think those holes stay covered? A couple of weeks, maybe?
Further questions, comments? We're having a good discussion, and roads and school budgets are the things that get people cranked, and, you know, I think there's good exchange of information here. That's a good thing. Are we ready to vote? Seeing no objection. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to revise the River Road Reserve Account rules to read, for upgrading the gravel portion of the River Road to pavement and associated preparatory work or other River Road maintenance or repair. Expenditures from the fund shall be requested in writing by the road commissioner and approved by a vote of the select board. The target level will be set when identified in a town road maintenance and repair plan. End quote. All those in favor of Article 3 as read, raise your hand, please. Those opposed? The article passes unanimously. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjournment, raise your hand, please. Them opposed? Are you just waving, or are you?
No, I've been thinking about it.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.